For instance, we adapt. James, you said it. We adapt. I haven't had red meat in a very, very long time. Do I get cravings for it? Yes. But if I even have like a tiny, like penny-sized piece of a burger, or what is it, pounds in your guys' thing? You guys know what I'm talking about, the size of a coin.
Oh, yeah.
Pounds as in currency, not weight.
Yeah.
But a little tiny bit of like a cap or something of red meat, my stomach goes into this panic mode where it doesn't know what it is. It's like I haven't had this in years. Anything bacon of that sort. I'm not vegan. I eat fish 24/7. Actually, I eat so much cans of tuna that my doctor was like, "You have mercury poisoning." I was like, "What does that mean?" He goes, well,
Stop
mercury
eating fish.
poisoning.
That's not a good thing to laugh. Apologies,
He was
laughing
like,
at the fact you got mercury poisoning.
I'm like, well, what's the downsides of having mercury poisoning? He goes, depression. I was like, I already got that. I'm not worried about
Doesn't
that.
your hair fall out?
He goes, yep, your hair falls out. I was like, that explains. I actually got a haircut because someone at my work was like, is your hair, like, are you missing spots? I was like, what? So I was freaking out. Like, I built it up in my mind. And the hair lady's like, no, you're fine. I was like, all right, cool. It's just the way I combed it, I guess. But that tells you how bad I can easily get freaked out when it comes to small stuff. Big stuff I don't care about, except maybe robots taking over. But when it comes to like he was talking about hair falling out, and he was like, you get fatigue. I'm like, dude, I'm always tired. I don't sleep. And he goes, okay. And he goes, well, all the side effects seems like you're probably just suffering from that. It might not even be that you have insomnia. I'm like, so what's the fix? And he goes, stop eating a can of tuna. Try something else. I was like, but it's so cheap. He goes, what? Your health is more important. I was like, bro, $1 for a can of tuna. I don't want to hear anybody complain about food. Eating healthy is too high price. Can of tuna is $1. A thing of Honey Smacks, which is my all-time favorite cereal I got salmonella poisoning from, is $5. Okay, so it don't contest me with the processed sugar stuff. Like, it just goes through it goes one in one ear, not the other. But we adapt to things, such as like if you don't have something for so long, your body will adapt to live without it. If you slowly start introducing something back into your body, just like in the hunter and gatherer days, I don't think anybody back then was like, I get the tummy rumbles when I have the seeds of an apple. I get the tummy rumble. Is that mammoth? I can't eat mammoth. It's like, well, hang on a second. This is what we're eating. You ate a little bit, and eventually your body adapted to be able to handle this, such as like my little nephew, he was born with a lactose thing, but they slowly were giving him like milks, lower like varieties of milks, and he ended up overcoming it. So now where he can eat cereal, drink milk right out of the gallon, whatever he wants to do, to be able to handle that. But it's that process of adapting and evolving into it. But once you start making things artificial, you start doing this, your biggest fear isn't that you might get the tummy rumblings if you got the, dairy lactose, but it should be more in the fact of what are you putting in your body that's artificial. And this is where I get nervous, is because I had bought Arnold Palmer tea with the guy swinging the golf club and everything, and I was like, oh well, I'll get to this. I had a sip of it, and then I never touched it for like 5 months, and eventually it's just sitting there, and I'm like, all right, what? Like I don't use it. I can't, like, I might as well dump it out. So then I was thinking, like, oh my god, this is money going down the drain, literally. I dump it out into my drain, and there's a thick syrup that just came out and landed right over the drain filter. And I was like, that would have been inside of me, or my body would have broken that down. And when I started suffering from a gastrointestinal issue, I started realizing, like, I thought that was a rare thing. I thought people were going to be like, oh, that's crazy. Are you dying? How long do you have left to live? And I'm like, no, it's just like my stomach doesn't digest things, it doesn't handle things properly. But everyone was like, my colon taken out. Oh, I got this, I got that. Oh, I got this. All in their 20s and 30s. I'm like, wait a minute, is that the way we're eating as people? Is that the processing is now overloading our bodies even faster now? Back in the day, you would have you wouldn't experience something until like you're in your 60s, where then it starts to become an issue. Now kids are experiencing at the age of 20. Kids are experiencing like, severe infections and severe diseases. That's where I'm like, all right, we need to look at this, not the next Tesla going into outer space. We need to focus on our own nutrition right now.
And that's just the education of it, I think, more than anything, isn't it? Having that realization of food. Yeah, in a way, it's the way I look at it, it's that basics of, food is a fuel for your body, and you need to think about the things that your body needs from it. If you're drinking 2 liters of Coke and whatever every single day, what's that giving your body? It's that trade-off, isn't it? If you're
well, I've been doing an experiment. Can I let you know my little experiment I'm doing?
Please do.
400 calories a day. Yeah,
That's an extreme experiment.
So through high school, where my fitness journey kind of started, I was only eating an apple a day. I had been bullied really bad to the point where it was like I just stopped eating in general. Like I was eating a bag of Doritos and a thing of Mountain Dew. Wouldn't gain a pound, but that was like the only thing I was eating all day. Then I started weightlifting, and I was like, all right, I heard that you have to meal plan and bulk up to like 3 meals. So it took a while to bulk up to eating chicken breast and literally feeding just to feed because you have to. And then now my body's so keen on certain times, like my breakfast is usually at like 4 a.m. and the next meal time's at 11 and the next meal time's 5 o'clock for dinner. I was wondering, like, because I eat my weight in protein, but I was like, is that because, like, am I hungry and I need something to fill that? Or can I do a little experiment and see how much food I actually need? So I took 1 can of tuna, and I'll take a little bit of kale and I'll put it in a bowl. So whenever my mealtime comes, I'll take a quarter scoop, 1 little spoonful out of that can of tuna. So there's still like 1/3 of it or 2/3 of it left. And I'll put that on my salad. And then obviously I need to get a handful of cereal and crunch it up on top of my salad. It's croutons. Don't knock it till you try it. And then I would eat that. So that was my breakfast this morning. I won't get hungry until later. So I'm only consuming under 400 calories basically. So it was an experiment to see how much does our body actually need and how much are we just feeding it because we've been brainwashed that we need this much, or is it another way? I mean, yeah, the rain hurts when it hits my skin, but I'm okay. Like,
but what is the end goal? How long
so
are you carrying on this? That's the key part, isn't it?
I think it was a main thing because like I've been much like most people like in their 20s or something, you're living by yourself. So it's a funding thing. I'm trying to figure out how much money am I wasting on groceries that I don't ever really get to? How much money am I wasting on things where I can actually consume less and spend less? So I started doing that. Like I can cook a chicken breast and I'll just tear off bits and pieces of that chicken breast and then put it on top of my salad. So where 1 can last me 1 day instead of eating 1 for every single meal. So you're going through 3 a day. It's a whole money factor. How much do you honestly really need? And then there's some psychopaths who are like, I fasted 18 hours. I'm like, I can't do that. I need to eat, every couple of hours. But you actually need a little bit less. But the thing is, that feeling of hunger, you start being like, oh, dude, I'm starving right now. It's like, yeah, how much till that fills that void? You know what I mean? A lot of it comes out of boredom. I think that's going to keep increasing. You're going to see, the market, processed foods, all these things. People are going to be spending more and more on money as the years progress, only because our attention spans are getting so freaking just low. Like you immediately want to be on Twitter, Facebook, doing another thing while you're doing something. It's like, this is an issue I come across in the podcast. A dude pulls out his phone or something. I'm like, it's an hour. Like you don't need to be on it. He's like, but my Clash of Clans. It's like, oh, I get it. I'm thinking about Dragon City as I'm talking to you gentlemen right now, but I'm in here and I'm in this conversation, and that's the point. Like, you just got to show up to the game. Whenever I went out with a lady or something, I'd be like, I'm just happy you showed up. Like, it's team effort here. Like, you know what I mean? It's that whole concept of, I think we need to slow down as people a little bit. And that correlates with our food too. You just maybe, like, I never even understood it until my grandma got really sick. I was kind of listening to a lot of her life lessons it kind of gave to me. And she was like, just put 1 chip in your mouth. Like when I was a kid, just 1 little salt and vinegar chip and just suck on it and eat it. And I used to look at her like, you're a psychopath. Like, no freaking way I'm doing that. It's a handful.
A whole handful.
Yes. And literally, you can do that with McDonald's fries, where the fries are literally like they're coming out of your mouth off the sides, and they're literally trying to stop themselves from all getting shoved in there. And then I started doing that recently, though. I started taking a potato chip and just putting it in my mouth and kind of enjoying the flavor of it. And I would go through like 5 of them and be like, I'm good. Like, I don't really need a whole lot of it. And I think that correlates with people. I mean, you get to see it all the time. Somebody suffers from, oh, I can't have this, I can't have that.